Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, before we do get into this first story, I just want to give you a trigger warning of domestic violence within it, so if you do want to skip it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. And let's get started. Now, our first story comes from a deleted user from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, and it says, Am I the Arsehole? Broke up with heart surgeon boyfriend over his mum's comments on me being a nurse. I'm 27 female, and I am a nurse. I make good salary as a private nurse for a firm, which provides care for rich families. 6 figures in my country, not USA. I'm proud of my career. I wanted to be a doctor when I was a teen, but it wasn't possible for my family to provide me medical education, and at that time I felt self-hate to be a nurse. But at the age of 20, I became a nurse, and now I love it. This job has made it possible for me to buy my own house, car, and travel outside the country. Good pension plan, and other savings. I can raise a family on my own income. I have/had a boyfriend, say Rob, 28 male, who is into heart speciality, and we fell in love during hospital visits. He was the one to pursue me. He is soon going to be a heart surgeon. His mum has always made passive-aggressive comments about me being a nurse. We got engaged recently, and all of his relatives were at a family dinner party held by Rob's parents last week. So his mum and aunts at the dinner table joked around that a heart surgeon like Rob can get any female doctor as a wife. Rob took offense and said Nia, me, is very much independent and makes a good salary herself to take care of the whole family. But his mum went on. I had had enough. I have respect for housewives, but this time I fired back. I said his mum and aunts are all gold-digging housewives with no life skills outside of raising kids. They live on their husband's money who are rich. Some of them started crying and started shouting. Everyone, including Rob, asked me to apologize. I broke up on the spot and said I will not sell my self-respect for his family. I'd rather marry a normal man than a surgeon whose family doesn't respect me. I left and Rob is begging for a chance. I know he tried to silence his mum, but I don't see the future. I see a lifetime of taunts, and I can't ask him to cut off his parents, which he won't do anyway. My parents are saying he is a good catch and to ignore his mum's comment. But money isn't everything, and social status isn't everything. I don't want to be looked down upon, but I miss him and it is breaking my heart. Edit. More to add. He's tried to stop their comments whenever I told him it bothered me. He said try to ignore, and whenever he tried arguing with them, they said it was just joking and he shouldn't disrespect his elders. Also, after marriage, we would have shifted to the house next door. I would never have peace in my life, I realized. It will never cut them off, nor will I force anyone. It's better to end it. It's one of those where the reaction was justified. This is a culmination of passive-aggressive comments towards you about being a nurse and who she believes is below her son. And you snapped at her, which I don't blame you for. And I think it's like you said, if he was going to be living next door to her at some point in the future, it would have continued in other forms of your life as well. She's going to be popping around all the time, inserting herself in your life, marriage, children, and your parents are wrong. You know, this guy might have a good career. He might be nice in many ways, but they're missing the point in that he's still backing up his mum and he's going down the keep the peace route, which isn't going to be keeping your peace. It'd be keeping his, but it's just going to allow the mum and other people to continue to walk all over you. So, you know, fucking fair play to you in this one. You're successful, financially independent, and you deserve people that are going to celebrate that with you. But Vera says, girl, you chose you, and I respect that heavy. Like, yeah, love is cute and all, but not when it comes with a side of disrespect from the in-laws buffet. You don't sign up for a lifetime of microaggressions just to be someone's respectable nurse wife when you're already out here thriving. His mum acting like you're some peasant for not being a doctor. Meanwhile, you're out here making 6 figures, traveling, owning property. Be serious. And Rob might be a sweetheart, but if he can't put his mum on mute when she's coming for your whole existence, then what's the point? You didn't lose a heart surgeon. You dodged a future group chat full of backhanded compliments and when are you going back to school vibes. You're the prize, always were. Keep the crown on. Llama Drama Queen says, so let me get this straight. His mum thinks he can do better than a 6-figure earning nurse. Maybe she should consider applying for the role of family drama queen instead. OP replies saying, I don't want to boast, but I make on par and even better than some non-surgery doctors. But I'm a nurse and that is what bothers her. Tremenda says, fuck yeah, not the arsehole. I can imagine his mum's passive-aggressive comments would drive me nuts too. Like, if she has a problem with you as an engaged woman, what makes her think it'll magically stop after you're married? Some people just don't know when to keep their mouths shut and mind their own business. Silly me, I guess I'm still naive enough to believe in fairy tales where the wicked stepmother or mother-in-law turns into a supportive partner once the wedding bells chime. But hey, at least you stood up for yourself and your hard-earned career. Don't let anyone make you feel less than what you are. And a final comment from that birdie who says not the arsehole. Well done for getting so far and not snapping back. Sadly, we all reach our limit. He did try and stop them, but it sounds like he never stepped up past don't say that type of defense. When you snap back and he asks you to apologize. Nope, why should you? You were just stating the truth. It's perfectly okay for them to be stay-at-home mothers who only get an allowance of their husbands, just that it is okay for you to be a nurse. They have no idea what a working day looks like at all. They raise their kids. Now they get to sit at home or go to a country club or spa whenever they like. His mother showed her colors, and if she can't accept that what she said is unacceptable, that's on her and everyone at that dinner. He will never stick up for you when it counts by the sounds of it. You had every right to say what you did because I guarantee you, that's what some of them did. So OP did come in with the update and said, Rob and I met after that event a few days after I made the original post. He came to my place to discuss. My brother was there, but I sent him to the other room before Rob came and he didn't know my brother was there. I just wanted to be secure. He cried and I cried too, but I told him the only way it is possible for me to get with him is that we have to shift far from his parents and limited contact from my side with his family and our future kids. He said it isn't possible and his family will be a great support system for us. He told me he will make a huge amount of money and I can continue part-time when we have kids, as he will pay me around my salary to spend. My independence is something I value, and I refused. I told him that his mother will not raise my kids and I won't leave my job. He got angry and our discussion became heated, and in anger, he slapped me hard and literally ripped my shirt when he held my arm. I'm a 5'9" woman. But a 6 feet muscle man made me realize how weak I felt physically at that moment. I called my brother out, and when he saw blood from my nose and ripped shirt, he lost it and beat Rob to a pulp that I had to stop him. In the end, we called his family and police got involved. It was decided he won't press charges if I don't because it will ruin his career. I also wanted no trouble for my brother, but I have a restraining order in the process. The relationship is all over. My love went to zero with that slap of his. His mother begged me not to file charges. Anyway, thanks Reddit for opening my eyes. I never knew my ex was like this before this incident because he never raised a hand on me. If my brother wasn't there, I didn't know what could have happened to me. I got a camera installed a couple of days back, though I will sell this house and buy a house in my parents' neighborhood. This finished the chapter of my life and I will not date someone for months. I'm going to a 3-week trip to Europe this summer and want to heal my heart and soul. This is my final update. Thank you. Edit. Who finds it fake can buzz off from my post. If it was fake, I wouldn't have deleted my ID back then and made an update post ASAP. I suffered and took a break from social media. Finally got the energy to update you guys because I got a lot of support earlier. Some are saying I am not a native English speaker. I don't know why. Some think I'm a teenager because I use a lot of type short forms. It is a very common way of communication in my country, and it comes in my writing style. And on the back of this one, a lot of people saying that OP should absolutely still file charges. Other people saying they understand where they're coming from, with the brother potentially getting in trouble as well. Other people saying, that's self-defense. And others saying they can understand why they don't want to go through that and just move on with your life, be safe, be happy, and thrive. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Ballet Party Throw from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, and it says, my daughter's dance teacher invited her to a sleepover at her house. Would I be the arsehole for formally complaining? My daughter is 7. She's been taking ballet lessons since she was 4, but has only been enrolled in this particular dance school for about a year. There are only 6 other girls in her class, all around her age, and she has 2 lessons a week. Anyway, earlier this week, my daughter came home with an invitation from her teacher. She's inviting the girls, all 7 of them, to spend the night at her house on the last weekend of April. According to my daughter, the teacher told the girls that it's a slumber party. The pitch apparently included McDonald's, movies, and games. I've spoken to the other mums and they've all confirmed that their daughters got the same invitation. None of us have been notified by the school, so I have to assume the teacher is planning this on her own. She has not spoken to any of us about this directly, only to our daughters. Some of the girls seem to be excited, but my daughter is still anxious about spending the night away from us. So she won't be going even if I was okay with this, which I'm not. I've never spoken to this teacher about anything besides my child, nor do I know anything about her personal life or home. I've been thinking of complaining to the dance school about this because I've never heard of teachers doing this before and I'm a little freaked out. But at least 2 of the other mums don't seem to have a problem with it, and I can't help but wonder whether I'm overreacting. Is this normal? Honestly, I just need some advice. The OP started off by responding to some comments, giving some additional information. To the top comment, but was deleted, said, honestly, I think I'd still be bothered if she had communicated with us, but the fact that she spoke directly to the girls before anything else does make things worse. Commenter says, nah, that's very weird. If the school and parents were aware and consented, then I'd probably be okay. But to only bring it up to the kids is very strange. I suggest you and the other mums go to the school about this. OP says, I don't speak to most of the other mums as much as I wish I did. It's a pretty famous dance school in our area and a couple of them seem to be stage mum types. I talk regularly to some of the other ones about the kids, but my husband is usually the one who picks our daughter up, so I don't have that much contact. The group chat, which is how we're discussing this, is for emergencies only. What I could do is ask if anyone else wants to do something about this. Commenter said, fair warning here. If you tell them in the group chat that you're going to talk to the school, be prepared for potential backlash from other parents or from the teacher. Not saying it will happen, but absolutely could. OP said that tracks. Would asking how everyone felt and then reaching out to some of them in private be a better idea? Someone said, how old is the teacher? OP said early 30s. I think she's around my age, but on the younger side. OP also adds, the teacher does not have children as far as I know. I wouldn't complain about this because I felt like it or out of evil intent. I don't want to accuse her of anything, and if she does mean well, I don't want her to lose her job over this. All of that said, I don't think she should be encouraged to keep doing this. None of the parents of the children she invited were notified in advance, and I don't think the school knows about this either. Commenter says, but you were notified in advance. You got an invitation via your daughter. The teacher didn't spring this on the day of. When there are field trips at normal schools, the permission slips are sent home with the kids. The school doesn't notify the parents in advance. And an invitation is not a summons. You can choose not to send your daughter there, but the other parents can make their own choice to do so. OP says a field trip is not the same as a sleepover. Permission slips are formal documents sent by the school, not informal invitations sent by the teachers. And giving an invitation to a 7-year-old does not count as notifying the parents in advance. There was no communication on her part. The invitations. OP says the invitations does not address or mention the parents at all. She included her phone number but didn't ask for ours. To another commenter, OP said, I did not receive it, my daughter did. If she did this through the proper channels, such as the school, email, or actually speaking to the parents directly, it'd be a different thing. She didn't speak to us, didn't ask for any contact information, and didn't pitch it to us in advance. A commenter, who was downvoted, says, why even send her to dance if you don't trust people? OP says trusting someone to teach your kid ballet for a couple of hours twice a week isn't the same as trusting them to take your child for a night, and again, I know next to nothing about her home or personal life. Commenter says, so I don't think she means this in a bad way. My parents, head coaches for my softball team, would host sleepovers at least once a season. Maybe you could talk to the teacher and parents could rotate being a helper/chaperone. Kids get fun, majority of parents get the night off, accountability, win-win. No one's an arsehole here, just miscommunication I think. Opie says yeah, I can understand miscommunications. I plan on speaking to her this weekend and I hope we can at least clear some things up. An electronic farm says my daughter's dance teachers would invite students to a sleepover in the dance studio with other teachers. That's how they do it. Normal says that's how my studio was too. We all brought air mattresses and slept at the studio. And there was a lot of comments on this one thinking that this was okay. And I was kind of shocked by that because I was like, no, this is absolutely not okay. Inviting 7-year-olds over for a sleepover without directly communicating with the parents. I find that madness. And I'm not saying that person's an evil person with nefarious intent, but OP is being a good parent in this situation. They don't know this person apart from that they're a dance teacher. They know nothing about their home life. And like I said, the teacher is likely has innocent intentions in this situation, but it's just such piss poor judgment. And this is meant to be someone who's a professional, a teacher in a dance studio. I mean, come on. Just trying to put myself in OP's shoes and you got this 7-year-old and you're just sending them off to a near stranger's house. You know nothing about them apart from that they're a dance teacher, to somewhere where this doesn't seem to be like officially ran by the dance school, but it seems almost like a personal invitation. You don't know what they're going to be doing there. You just got an invitation which was given to your child. No other adults there apart from her. Emergency plans if anything goes wrong. I mean, it just sounds like a clusterfuck and absolutely is a safety concern. But it was around 11 days later after this one, and it said, thank you for all your input. A lot has happened, but I tried and keep this short. I won't waste time in trying to convince anyone to like me. If you already decided I'm a true crime-obsessed, neurotic helicopter parent Karen with diaper energy and social anxiety issues, I don't think there's much I can say that will change your mind. And yes, I've heard of lock-ins. My son had one with his swim team last year. He's a bit older, happened at the pool, guardians were informed before the children were, and one of the other parents chaperoned. It's not the same thing as an unofficial sleepover at a teacher's house. All of that said, I never intended to risk this woman's job. I was just worried. So I spoke to my husband and we decided to take your advice and speak to my daughter's teacher first. He spoke to her while picking up our daughter last week. He said the conversation went fine, but he was bothered by her reaction when he said our daughter wouldn't attend. He told the teacher our kid was anxious, but she replied that the sleepover would be a great opportunity for her to come out of her shell, and that we should try to encourage our daughter to come. During the conversation, my husband also found out the following. She came up with a sleepover idea because she wanted to bond with the girls and figured it would be fun. She didn't ask for another parent to act as a chaperone because her husband had offered to help her, first time she ever mentioned his existence. When asked what she'd do in case of an emergency, she just stated she lived about 10 minutes away from a hospital. She didn't ask for the parents' contact information because she didn't think of it. After he told me all this, I decided to email the dance school. I wrote that the teacher was planning a sleepover, about which the parents had not received a lot of information. 2 days later, we got an email from the teacher, stating that she was cancelling the sleepover due to a complaint from the dance school. She also apologised for not being more transparent with us. Some of the other mums are planning another sleepover at one of their houses so that the girls won't be upset. Not sure where or when it will happen, but I'm trying to keep up to date. Ultimately, even though I still don't know what the sleepover would have been like, I don't regret this. When it comes to my children, I'd rather be paranoid and wrong than regretful and right. If I complained and it turned out to be a completely innocent event, I'd feel embarrassed, even after apologizing. But it might be something I could laugh about someday. If I let my daughter go and something happened to her, or any other of the girls, I would never forgive myself. I replied to comments for the next day or so, but I won't update again. Thank you all. Commenter says to OP, I think that was the right call. I personally believe the teacher had nothing but good intentions, but it's a learning lesson to be as transparent with the parents and school as possible if you want to plan something like this. Edit, guys, I appreciate the comments and upvotes, but you do not need to spam. The road is paved with good intentions every few minutes. OP says, I agree that's a possibility, but this also felt really unprofessional. I still don't understand why she didn't email us about the sleepover before talking to the kids about it, especially when that would have been much easier. At no point did she speak to us about this. She didn't ask anyone for contact information or allergies and didn't mention anyone else would be there with her. Commoner says 100% the right call. In due time you'll find out that you and your daughter dodged a bullet. I'd start looking for a new dance school or a different teacher. This is not safe. Opie says she'll have a different teacher in August, so I don't mind letting her stay for the next 2 months unless something like this happens again. Commoner says second she mentioned her husband helping, that's a huge no and should be reported. Opie says her husband might be a lovely person, but I have no way of knowing that for sure. The fact that she didn't think of mentioning him beforehand does strike me as odd though. Opie responds to someone who tells about their own horrible experience and says, trust me, I'm alarmed. We're an immigrant family, so I try to be mindful of cultural differences between the country I started raising my children in and the one we currently live in. It's pretty much the only reason why I question this. I'm very sorry to learn what happened to you and your sister. Commoner says, unrelated, but what the hell is diaper energy? You think you're up to date with internet slang and are then walloped with something like that? I was like, what the hell as well? OP says, no clue, and Google didn't help. If whoever called me that wants to clarify, I'll be thankful. I found it. It says it's internet slang, mostly on TikTok of course, that refers to childish, immature or babyish behavior from adults. It's used to describe someone who's acting petulant, whiny or throwing a tantrum, essentially behaving like they need their diaper changed. And absolutely, I don't blame OP one bit for taking the path that they went down. You know, I keep reiterating that that person might have had 100% innocent intentions, but the way that they dealt with that is just absolutely unprofessional and a shit way to deal with it. And in all honesty, some of the comments on that one saying, you know, there's nothing wrong with it, had my head spinning. I used to go to a club when I was younger and, you know, we used to just do various activities there, and sometimes they would host a sleepover as well in the building where they hosted all the activities, and there was a group of adults there. Parents were allowed to attend as well if they wanted to, and a couple of parents did attend. Parents were informed up front and they had like sheets of information so we could fill out our contact information, medical information, all this kind of stuff, which none of that was there in this story. It's just wild. But just thinking back to my childhood, here I go again. Thinking back to my childhood, and I'm not saying this is anything directly with, you know, the dance teacher in this one. It's just more along the lines of you never know what someone's like. Nothing against the dance teacher, but just something that popped into my head that was as I was reading this. When I was younger, I don't know how, quite young, like 10 or something like that. Like once a month or something, my mum and dad would have an Indian takeaway from in the city centre, and me and my dad would go into town and, you know, we'd walk there and we'd pick it up. I loved going with him because my dad was a chill dude, and we'd turn up there like 6-7 p.m. and you got the stairs. There's quite a few stairs to get up to this place, and then there's a little bar straight away as soon as you get to the top of the stairs, and then there's, you know, a bunch of tables where people eat. I'd go and sit at one of the tables and just chill waiting for my dad. Well, my dad would sit at the bar, have a little beer while we're waiting for our takeaway before we leave. We never had it delivered back then. And there was this waiter at the time, came across as a really friendly guy, used to come up to me and, you know, I'm not sure if it's in all Indian restaurants, but at the end, they sometimes give you like a little gold packet with a mint chocolate in. Oh, they were absolutely amazing. And this waiter used to come up to me and like chuck me 5 on the table and sort of give me a thumbs up and go away and then keep doing that. It started with 1 or 2, but the more I got to know him, and then occasionally he'd start speaking to me and various things, and he came across as real nice. I think it was I don't know how many years later, I mean this was some time ago, but let's just say a couple of years later, my dad was reading the paper and discovered that the guy has been arrested because he's a paedophile. Like, fucking hell. Obviously I wasn't like fucking hell because I was like 12 years old, but I was like, what? Anyway, I'll leave you with that story. What do you guys make of today's stories? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Absolutely wonderful. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.